next one looks totally the same, okay? Totally the same. We square both sides. Let's be lazy and just write the squares up there. Save us a little time. And we'll have x plus 3 equaling 2x plus 7. And we're just going along, moving our x over. Looks the same. 3 equals x plus 7. And when we subtract 7 from both sides, we find out that x ends up equaling -4. Now, the fact that we ended up with a negative answer will be a little bit of a sign that there's a possibility for an extraneous solution. But extraneous solutions can happen even when your variable is not negative. It doesn't really matter what your variable is. What matters is whether you have a negative underneath your radical. Okay, so they can sneak in on you. Now, what will happen, okay, is that we'll plug this -4 in, and we'll have -4 plus 3. And we'll plug the -4 in everywhere there is an x, so it appears twice here. So we have the 2 times the -4 plus 7. And when we simplify, we have the square root of -1 equaling the square root of -1, which looks good, but of course we all know that the square root of -1 doesn't exist, right? So this could not be a solution to this equation, because there's no such thing as a square root of -1, right? So this -4 was an extraneous solution. Basically what happened is the -4 was a solution to the x plus 3 equals 2x plus 7, but it was not a solution to the square root of x plus 3 equaling the square root of 2x plus 7. Because when you plug the -4 in, you get that -1 underneath the radical, and that's not okay, right? So it's not that we did anything wrong. It just means that you can square both sides of the equation as long as you check for extraneous solutions, right? And when you have a negative underneath your radical, it doesn't really work to go and square it, right? Doesn't work, right? And again, I just want you to remind you that sometimes it can be sneaky. You can have a positive value for x and still end up with a negative underneath the radical. So you can't just look for negative answers and think that that means they're extraneous. You pretty much always want to just go ahead and go in there, check it out, and see if you end up with a negative underneath the radical, even if your variable is positive. Okay? Do that for me.